שנה טובה, שלום, ברוכים וברוכות הבאים והבאות תחת כנפי השכינה. Welcome friends, brothers and sisters under the wings of the Shekhinah, the divine presence which dwells here and in all houses of worships, always, but mainly today, as we congregate to mark the beginning of the new Jewish year 5783. On behalf of our community, I would like to thank you for joining us, joining in our prayers, and I bless you and your loved ones with a happy and sweet year to come. This year and these holidays mark my 10th year with you here at Beit Emanel, and this is the 10th time I'm standing before you on this very pulpit to lead the liturgy and ritual of the new year. This is indeed a personal milestone, but as rabbinic work is by its very nature public, it is also an invitation for us as a community to reflect on the path that we had followed for this past decade. Both the community and I have been significantly transformed. We have matured, and we overcome difficulties and deepened our endeavors. I reflect on the person who stood here on this pulpit 9 cycles of high holidays ago. In my first sermon back then, I spoke about the gift of being renewed and achieving a fresh view. And I invited the community to join me in the sense of new beginning, so we could build a new covenantal relationship of a rabbi and a community on a fresh and solid ground. In particular, I remember one verse which embodied this notion for me, Isaiah 65:17. See, I will create a new heaven, a new earth, and past events will not be remembered, nor will they come to mind. Looking back, I think we can agree that this community has renewed itself, yet we have not created a new heaven and a new earth. Rather, we had embarked on a slow process of evolution, a process which we are still experiencing. Today we are much more diverse, much more open to the variety of voices, the variety of possibilities, which together compose contemporary South African progressive Jewish identity. Yet we are rather still far from completing this process, and perhaps this journey will ever be completed. We change, and our points of reference change. For certainly, both South Africa and Israel have changed dramatically over these past few years. And as for me, I'm more realistic, I'm more self-conscious, hopefully I'm more sensitive. It is my duty as your rabbi to be aware of how my inner disposition affects other people. The rabbi is the keeper of the common vision, and this is the sacred mission that you have entrusted to and invested in me. Thus, this is my responsibility to be accountable for it, and in reality, it means being constantly aware of the narrative, the set of stories which I choose to believe and that I choose to bring into this shared space. You see, dear friends, we live the stories we tell ourselves. There are no detours for circumcising this simple fact. What we believe to be true will repeatedly take substance in our lives. What we expect from our lives will be fervently fulfilled in our reality. Thus, we need to learn how to tell the right story, those that we would be happy to see actually being fulfilled. These are stories which will make us feel gratitude and awe as we watch them materializing, stories which we could be proud to pass on to the generations to come. What allows a new story to be born is a strong sense of absence, a discontent, and a great passion to grow, break through, and overcome. It is the intensity of our longing which leads us. Once we identify what is lacking in our life, once we are honest about our true yearning, we let that internal fire show us the path. Please note that we can try to anesthetize the yearning by external means, people around us, where we live, where we walk, and so on. Yet the internal yearning will not be quieted by the illusion that if we change external conditions, then our challenges will be solved. People make dramatic external changes in their lives, hoping that by this may serve as a substitute to the internal process. It simply does not work. The internal process can be excruciating at times, but it is always rewarding if we only let the fire burning within us show us the way into the truest self. And it takes sacrifice and forgiveness when one is determined to be the person one wishes to be, then one deserves to be, one feels to be ready to be. Sacrifice and forgiveness are integral to these high holiday periods. To move forward, one must give up something of the old. One must sacrifice the lesser for the greater one. To give birth to your new story, one must be able to let go of the old story. And it is an emotional sacrifice. As the old story saved us, the old story served us, the old story kept us contained, kept us contained. Are we ready to give up that misery, the loneliness, the victimhood, the pain, which is used as a tool to attract attention, to attract sympathy from those around us? The sacrifice must be bold, must be honest, authentic. Otherwise, we will continue to wallow in our suffering like a hippo in the pool. It is only at this point that forgiveness will appear. It is possible to move on, to leave behind the old story of, this is my truth. Oh, this is who I am. This is my truth. This is what I always believed in. Oh, this is what shaped who I am. I can create a gentler story, which will enable me to move on, even though I was hurt, and even though I was indeed a victim of circumstances I could not control at the time. But this does not mean that I endorse whatever might have happened, or that I am content with it. It simply means that I can accept that I can accept what has already occurred, and then I can move forward. This thinking is true both for individual and both for the communities, our singular Beit Emanel community and our Jewish community of faith. What we need now is a real sacrifice from within our deepest woundedness, as well as an honest forgiveness. Then surely healing and life will be rewarded. Yes, my friend, the new story we yearn for is one of which we are both healed and heal our surrounding. It is a story in which we are loved and love our surroundings. It is definitely not easy to give birth to new stories. That demands a great deal. I'm here to assure you that the effort is worthwhile, that we can attempt it, that we are not alone. We can immerse ourselves in an intense wave of spiritual awakening. I'm also here to assure you that if we do not attempt these changes, if we fail to transform ourselves, we will become entrapped in the old story of conflict and separation. We will perish one by one because we did not have the mental strength to come together, lift one another up, and become the difference we yearn to see in the world. My dear friends, I wish for us all the strength to listen to our yearning so we may become wiser and stronger by our sacrifice and to dare so to forgive. I ask forgiveness from you as individuals and as a community for the many instances when I failed to be the person and the rabbi I wish to be. I'm well aware that there were such moments during this past year, and I bless us all in the anticipation that we may merit truly magnificent healing and truly splendid love. I would like once again to thank each and every one of you for creating this community, Beit Emanel, which means so much to me and to my family. And I'd like to conclude this sermon with some lines from Ahmed Danger's poem, Swan Song. Listen, do you hear the wind ransack the open plains of my heart? Do you hear the crack of that bell? Out of Ahmed Danger poem, Swan Song. Shana Tova Metuka Chaverim, a happy, sweet New Year, dear friends.